The wind was picking up, the sky turning a dull, threatening gray, and the kind of cold that seeps into your bones had already settled in. There was work to be done, and not much time to do it. The plan was simple in theory: assess the rig, figure out what it needed, and get it moving before the storm rolled in. But plans like that rarely stay simple for long. Every seasoned gearhead knows that an old machine has a personality of its own, and it doesn't care about your schedule. Still, the urgency was real. Getting caught in the middle of a snowstorm with a dead vehicle wasn't just inconvenient, it was dangerous. That's the kind of situation that separates casual tinkerers from those who truly understand machines and survival. This wasn't just about turning wrenches, it was about making decisions under pressure, adapting to the unexpected, and pushing forward when things don't cooperate. And in many ways, that same mindset defined the life and journey of Derek, a man who built something extraordinary out of rust, grit, and determination. His story wasn't just about cars, it was about resilience, risk, and the willingness to walk away from comfort to chase something uncertain but meaningful. Growing up where nothing came easy. Derek's story began in the wide-open landscapes of North Dakota, where life on a farm teaches lessons you don't get from books. Out there, convenience doesn't exist in the same way it does in cities. If something breaks, you don't replace it, you fix it. That philosophy shaped him early. Surrounded by hard-working family members who could coax life back into nearly anything mechanical, he absorbed the idea that problems weren't obstacles but challenges waiting to be solved. It wasn't just about tools and machinery, it was about mindset. Every repair required patience, creativity, and persistence. Watching his father and grandfather work, he learned that ingenuity often mattered more than resources. Those early years weren't glamorous, but they were foundational. They built a deep understanding of how things worked and, more importantly, how to make them work again when they didn't. That kind of upbringing instills confidence, not the loud, boastful kind, but a quiet certainty that no matter what breaks, you'll figure it out. That confidence would later become one of his greatest assets. It allowed him to approach even the most hopeless-looking vehicles with the belief that, somehow, they could be brought back to life. Learning through mistakes and grease. By the time he reached his teenage years, Derek was already immersed in the world of mechanics. While others were focused on school activities or planning their futures in classrooms, he was learning through hands-on experience. Engines became puzzles, and every breakdown was an opportunity to understand something new. There's a difference between theoretical knowledge and practical skill, and he leaned heavily into the latter. Mistakes weren't failures, they were lessons that stuck. Long nights in the garage replaced textbooks, and trial and error became his primary teacher. Welding, fabricating, diagnosing issues, these weren't just skills he picked up, they became second nature. Over time, he developed an intuition that can't easily be taught, the kind that tells you where to look when something goes wrong, or what might fix a stubborn problem. This wasn't a polished, structured education. It was messy, unpredictable, and sometimes frustrating. But it was real, and that authenticity would later become a defining feature of his work. People didn't connect with perfection, they connected with honesty, and his journey was full of it. A detour into the corporate world. Despite his passion for working with cars, Derek eventually found himself stepping into a more conventional path. The corporate world offered stability, structure, and a predictable income, things that are hard to ignore. For a time, he traded grease-stained hands for meetings, schedules, and office routines. On the surface, it seemed like the responsible choice, but beneath that stability, something was missing. The creative, hands-on work that had once defined his days was reduced to a hobby squeezed into evenings and weekends. That kind of compromise can work for a while, but it rarely satisfies someone who thrives on building and fixing. The longer he stayed in that environment, the clearer it became that he was trading passion for predictability. And while predictability has its benefits, it often comes at the cost of fulfillment. The contrast between his day job and his time in the garage grew sharper over time, making it harder to ignore what he truly enjoyed. That internal tension eventually forced a decision, one that would change the course of his life. The first steps into content creation. In 2007, Derek began experimenting with sharing his work online. It wasn't a calculated move or a polished production. The videos were rough, the lighting inconsistent, and the camera work far from professional. But what they lacked in production quality, they made up for in authenticity. He wasn't trying to impress anyone with perfection. He was simply documenting what he loved to do. That honesty resonated with viewers. People could see that this wasn't staged or scripted. It was real work, real challenges, and real solutions. Early growth was slow, but it was steady. Each video built on the last, gradually attracting an audience that appreciated the straightforward, no-nonsense approach. He wasn't restoring pristine show cars. He was reviving neglected, forgotten machines that most people would have written off. That focus set him apart. It wasn't about perfection. It was about possibility. And that idea, that even the worst-looking vehicle could be saved, became a central theme of his content. The breakthrough that changed everything. Every journey has a turning point, and for Derek, it came with a project that captured widespread attention. Taking on a severely worn and neglected vehicle, he demonstrated not just technical skill but persistence and creativity. The transformation wasn't instant or easy, but that was exactly what made it compelling. Viewers weren't just watching a car get fixed, they were watching a process unfold, step by step. His humor, combined with a practical approach, made the content engaging without feeling forced. As more people discovered his work, the channel began to grow at a faster pace. It wasn't viral overnight success, but it was meaningful growth driven by genuine interest. The audience connected with the idea that you didn't need perfect conditions or unlimited resources to bring something back to life. That message extended beyond cars. It applied to life in general. And as the audience grew, so did the opportunities, eventually leading to a critical decision about his future. Walking away from stability. Balancing a growing online presence with a full-time job eventually became unsustainable. The demands of both worlds began to conflict, forcing Derek to make a difficult choice. Staying in the corporate job meant security, but it also meant limiting the potential of what he had started. Leaving it behind meant stepping into uncertainty, with no guarantees of success. It was a risk that many people would hesitate to take, but at some point, the desire to pursue something meaningful outweighed the fear of failure. He chose to walk away from stability and commit fully to his passion. That decision wasn't just about career, it was about identity. It meant embracing the unpredictable nature of building something from the ground up. And while the outcome wasn't guaranteed, the willingness to take that leap became one of the defining moments of his journey. Building a community around passion. As the channel grew, it became more than just a collection of videos. It evolved into a community of like-minded individuals who shared an appreciation for mechanical work and problem-solving. Viewers weren't just passive observers, they were engaged, offering suggestions, sharing experiences, and celebrating successes. That sense of connection added a new dimension to the work. It wasn't just about fixing cars anymore, it was about bringing people together through a shared interest. The authenticity that defined his early content remained intact, even as the audience expanded. That consistency helped maintain trust and kept the community grounded. In a space where polished, high-budget productions often dominate, his straightforward approach stood out. It proved that genuine passion could resonate just as strongly, if not more so, than perfection. A new chapter in Tennessee. Relocating to Tennessee marked another significant shift. The move wasn't just about geography, it was about improving quality of life. Shorter commutes, milder weather, and more time to focus on what mattered made a noticeable difference. The ability to work year-round without the limitations of harsh winters opened up new possibilities. It allowed for greater consistency in projects and content creation. Beyond the practical benefits, the move also aligned with his growing interest in motorsports. Being closer to racing events and communities added another layer to his work. It wasn't just about restoring vehicles anymore, it was about pushing them to perform. That expansion of focus kept things fresh and exciting, ensuring that the journey continued to evolve. Stepping into the racing world, racing introduced a new kind of challenge. Unlike restoration, where the goal is to bring something back to working condition, racing demands performance under pressure. It requires precision, reliability, and a willingness to push limits. Participating in events brought a different kind of satisfaction, the thrill of competition and the camaraderie of shared experiences. It also reinforced the importance of preparation and adaptability. On the track, there's little room for error. and every decision matters. That environment complemented his existing skills while introducing new ones. It was a natural extension of his passion, blending creativity with performance in a way that kept the work engaging and dynamic. Expanding into television. The transition to television brought new opportunities and challenges. Producing content for a broader audience required adjustments, but the core principles remained the same. The focus stayed on reviving neglected vehicles under pressure, capturing the same authenticity that defined his online work. The format introduced tighter timelines and higher stakes, adding intensity to each project. Despite the changes, the essence of the work didn't shift. It was still about problem-solving, persistence, and making the impossible possible. That consistency helped maintain the connection with existing fans while reaching new audiences. Challenges and misunderstandings. With increased visibility came increased scrutiny. Rumors and misunderstandings are common in the public eye, and not all of them are grounded in reality. At one point, speculation about legal issues circulated, but it turned out to be a misunderstanding rooted in humor taken out of context. While such situations can be frustrating, they are often part of growing recognition. More tangible challenges also arose, including theft incidents that highlighted the risks associated with valuable equipment. Despite these setbacks, the support from the community remained strong, reinforcing the sense that this journey was shared. Family at the center of it all. Amid all the growth and challenges, family remained a central part of Derek's life. Behind the scenes, support from his wife played a crucial role in managing the many moving parts of the operation. Their children grew up surrounded by the same environment that shaped him, learning through observation and participation. Passing down knowledge and skills became a natural extension of his work. It wasn't just about building cars, it was about building a legacy. Seeing the next generation take an interest in the same craft added a deeper sense of purpose to everything he did. Wiring chaos and electrical gremlins. Once the major mechanical components started coming together, the electrical system quickly reminded everyone that old cars rarely cooperate all at once. Wiring in a vehicle that has been sitting for decades is never straightforward. Insulation becomes brittle, connections corrode, and previous owners often leave behind a maze of questionable modifications. This Mustang was no exception. What should have been a simple process of restoring power turned into a slow unraveling of electrical chaos. Some wires led nowhere, others were spliced together with little logic, and grounding points were inconsistent at best. Tracking down faults required patience and a methodical approach, checking continuity, cleaning terminals, and sometimes replacing entire sections just to eliminate doubt. When the headlights flickered to life, it felt like a small victory, but it also highlighted how much more work remained. Brake lights refused to cooperate, and turn signals were unreliable, creating a situation where the car might run but still wouldn't be road-ready. Electrical issues don't announce themselves clearly. They hide, waiting to cause problems at the worst possible moment. Fixing them isn't glamorous, but it's essential, especially when time is limited and conditions are deteriorating. Fuel system, resurrection under pressure. The fuel system told its own story of neglect. Gasoline doesn't age gracefully. It breaks down into a thick, varnish-like substance that clogs lines and destroys components. Opening the tank released a smell that could only be described as decades of stagnation. It was clear that nothing in the system could be trusted. The fuel pump was effectively useless, the lines were brittle, and the filter was long past saving. Rebuilding the system meant starting from scratch, replacing the pump, installing new lines, and ensuring that fuel could flow cleanly from tank to engine. Even then, there was no guarantee everything would work perfectly. Tiny particles of debris can linger, causing blockages or damaging new parts. Every connection had to be secure, every seal tight. The process was messy and time-consuming, but it was critical. Without a reliable fuel system, all the other work would mean nothing. As the snowstorm edged closer, the pressure to get this part right intensified. There's no shortcut when it comes to fuel delivery. Either it works or the engine doesn't. And in this case, there was no room for failure. Cooling system and the risk of catastrophe. After addressing fuel and ignition, attention turned to the cooling system, a part often overlooked until it fails dramatically. Sitting idle for years had taken its toll. Hoses were cracked, The thermostat was likely stuck, and internal corrosion threatened to compromise the entire system. Overheating is one of the fastest ways to destroy an engine, so this wasn't something that could be ignored. Replacing hoses and installing a new thermostat were straightforward tasks, but the real concern was the radiator. Years of buildup and potential internal blockages made it a gamble. Flushing the system helped, but there was no way to be completely certain it would hold under pressure. Filling it with fresh coolant felt like a leap of faith. If something failed after the engine started running, it could undo all the progress in minutes. This is where experience plays a role, knowing what to fix, what to trust, and what to keep an eye on once the engine comes to life. The goal wasn't perfection, it was reliability, at least enough to get through the immediate challenge, transmission troubles, and moving forward. Even if the engine ran, the Mustang still needed to move under its own power. The transmission presented another layer of uncertainty. Claims of a previous rebuild meant little without evidence, and the symptoms suggested otherwise. The shifter was stiff, and the linkage underneath was coated in years of grime and corrosion. Freeing it required crawling beneath the car, working in uncomfortable conditions, and applying a mix of lubrication and persistence. Gradually, the components began to loosen, and movement returned. It wasn't perfect, but it was functional. Sometimes that's all you can ask for in a situation like this. The goal wasn't to restore the transmission to like-new condition. It was to make it usable. Once the linkage started responding properly, there was hope that the car could at least be driven out if everything else came together. It's a reminder that progress doesn't always come in big leaps. Sometimes, it's a series of small, hard-earned improvements that collectively make the difference. Improvisation. When parts don't match. No project goes exactly as planned, and this one delivered its share of surprises. Replacement parts are supposed to simplify the process, but they can just as easily complicate it when they don't fit or match expectations. The spark plug wires turned out to be incompatible, forcing an unexpected delay. In a controlled environment, that's a minor inconvenience. In a race against an approaching storm, it's a significant setback. Every trip to get additional parts eats into valuable time and energy. This is where improvisation becomes essential. Knowing when to adapt, when to modify, and when to step back and find the right solution is a skill in itself. Rushing the wrong fix can create bigger problems later. Despite the frustration, it reinforced an important reality. Preparation helps, but it can't account for everything. Flexibility and problem-solving are just as important as having the right tools. The mental game of beating the clock. Physical work is only part of the challenge in situations like this. The mental aspect plays an equally important role. Working under pressure, with a looming deadline and unpredictable conditions, tests focus and decision-making. Fatigue sets in, mistakes become more likely, and frustration can cloud judgment. Staying composed is critical. Each problem needs to be addressed logically, without letting the urgency lead to rushed decisions. It's a balancing act, moving quickly enough to make progress while remaining careful enough to avoid costly errors. The approaching storm added a constant sense of urgency, turning every delay into a potential risk. But it also sharpened focus, forcing prioritization of what truly mattered. Not every issue needed to be solved immediately. Some could wait. Identifying those distinctions is what keeps a project moving forward, instead of stalling under pressure. When experience becomes the advantage, moments like this highlight the value of experience. Years spent working on different vehicles, encountering a wide range of problems, build a kind of intuition that can't be easily taught. It's the ability to recognize patterns, anticipate issues, and make informed decisions quickly. That doesn't mean everything goes smoothly, it rarely does, but it increases the chances of success. Knowing how much force to apply when freeing a stuck part, how to diagnose a stubborn ignition issue, or when to stop and reassess, can make all the difference. Experience doesn't eliminate uncertainty, but it helps manage it. In a situation where time and conditions are working against you, that advantage becomes even more important. A machine as a reflection of its past. Working on an old car is like uncovering a story. Every worn component, every modification, every sign of neglect or care tells something about its history. This Mustang had clearly passed through multiple hands, each leaving their mark. Some repairs were thoughtful, others questionable. Piecing together that history is part of the process. It provides clues about what might go wrong and what might still be reliable. It also adds a layer of connection. This isn't just a machine, it's something that has been part of different lives over the years. Bringing it back to life isn't just a technical achievement, it's a continuation of that story. The moment before the first start. After hours of work, the moment of truth approaches. Everything that could be done has been done, at least within the limits of time and resources. Turning the key becomes more than a simple action. It's the culmination of effort, problem-solving, and persistence. There's always uncertainty. Will it start? Will something fail immediately? That moment carries a mix of anticipation and tension. It's where preparation meets reality. Regardless of the outcome, reaching that point is an achievement in itself. It represents the willingness to take on a challenge and see it through, even when success isn't guaranteed. More than just fixing cars. At its core, this entire journey goes beyond mechanics. It's about mindset, resilience, and the ability to adapt when things don't go as planned. Whether it's rebuilding a neglected vehicle or navigating life decisions, the principles remain the same. You assess the situation, use the tools and knowledge available, and keep moving forward. Success isn't always immediate, and setbacks are inevitable, but persistence, combined with a willingness to learn and adjust, creates progress. In the end, it's not just about getting the car running, it's about what the process teaches along the way. The Mustang and the race against time. Facing a long-neglected Mustang with a storm approaching brought everything full circle. It was a test of skill, patience, and determination under pressure. Every step revealed new challenges, rusted components, failing systems, and unexpected setbacks. Progress was slow, but each small victory mattered. Getting the engine to turn, freeing stuck parts, and restoring basic functionality became milestones in a race against time. The looming storm added urgency, turning a mechanical project into a survival scenario. It was a reminder that even with experience, no project is ever truly predictable. Persistence in the face of uncertainty. As the work continued, the uncertainty remained. Would the engine run? Would the repairs hold? There were no guarantees. But that's the nature of working with old machines, and, in many ways, life itself. You do what you can with what you have, relying on experience and intuition to guide you. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But the effort is what defines the outcome. Whether it was freeing a seized distributor, replacing worn components, or improvising solutions, each step required focus and determination. And in the end, that persistence is what drives progress, both in the garage and beyond.